Hello there, my name is Jade. This is my first video. So I'm really quick just gonna do a little bit of an intro of sorts, just kind of to what this channel is gonna be, and then we will get into the review, which you can see in the title of the video. So essentially this channel is going to be kind of just an outlet for me to talk about my thoughts and my analysis kind of behind horror movies, video games, books, mainly things. My taste, I would say, are forms of media that elicit a strong reaction in me. I don't even know how to describe that or how else to word that. But just movies that really hit for me, and elicits again like strong feelings emotionally, and also just like those physical sensations of like feeling scared, kind of thing. And when it comes to these kinds of media, I just really like things that have a strong story and a lot of really strong world building. So that's usually kind of what my taste is and what my favorites are. I'll probably end up doing a video in the future, maybe about some of my favorite horror movies. You can also like see some of them on my wall, kind of get a little bit of an idea of my taste. And I do want to say that I am coming as a fan. I do not have a film degree. I do not have an education in film. These things are just coming from my thoughts as someone who just really enjoys analyzing everything and just enjoys really deeply observing. And I love how these kinds of media can create so many different conversations and seeing the different things that people notice. I think that's kind of one of my favorite things and kind of why I'm making this, because I would love to talk with other people about these kinds of things. And I may also do other kinds of videos, kind of maybe related to personal things. For example, I am on a health weight loss journey. I may do a video about that. And also, I do really love music. I'm really into hardcore, metalcore, and genres kind of in that sphere. So maybe I'll end up doing something like that too, something a little like that in the future, but I really don't know yet. So I guess we'll kind of see what comes up. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the actual video. So the reason why I ended up making this my first video was because I had the opportunity to get to go to an early screening of The Conjuring Last Rites. And I have never been to anything like that before, so I was really excited. I'm going to be honest, I was not actually going to go see this movie because I definitely had the idea that maybe it just, wasn't really a movie for me. But also the fact that the case itself, the Smurl family haunting, really kind of freaks me out. There's also a lot of really disturbing elements in this story. And I think the fact too that it was like in Pennsylvania, that's where I'm from, that just kind of added to it a little bit. But yeah. So I got to go to the advanced screening through Girls Like Horror. I don't really know exactly how that worked, but this is a club in Philadelphia area that essentially focuses on um, women in horror. So whether that be a really strong female character in a horror movie, or if it is a directed by a woman, and also just a general conversation around women and some women's fascination with horror. And I was so excited to see that this was a thing, and I was ecstatic. I don't even know how I found it, honestly, how I found the club. But they put on a lot of really, really cool events. They put on screenings. They just did one for Pet Cemetery. And that was really, really cool. I really enjoyed that. So to kind of get into the screening itself, got some cool little objects. I don't even know if that's even going to be able to focus, but it's this little card of the angel Saint Michael. Um, and also has a prayer to him on the back. Definitely really, really cool item from the screening. And then also got huge movie theater size poster. So I really appreciated that. And then when I actually went into the theater, there was someone that was dressed. It looked really real. I'm gonna be honest. As Valak, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. The demon that kind of has been present through some of the Conjuring movies, and it was really cool, honestly. So going into the actual movie itself, of course, I will start spoiler free, and then I will go more into spoilers. I will timestamp all that fun stuff. So ahead of time, preface before the movie, I did see the first Conjuring and the second Conjuring. I really liked the first one. Second one I liked, but I was kind of like, you know. And I did not see any of the other Conjuring universe movies, just because it did not, again, really seem up my alley. But my cat is walking across the poster. Anyways, um, so yeah, I wasn't really planning to go this, but then I saw the screening was happening, and I just thought that would be a really cool experience. So I did decide to go, and my expectations, weren't really too high. And just to kind of preface for this movie, I wish I would start my channel with a movie that like I just love and like I'm obsessed with. It was all right. So, in my opinion, like it was a fun movie. I had a really good time watching it, and definitely it was really nice to have a theater experience where people were, laughing, making shocked noises and stuff. So that was really cool, and I think that definitely kind of added to my enjoyment of it. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun movie. Not really my personal taste, but let me kind of get into the actual review and plot. So, kind of like I said, this centers around the Smurl family in a town in Pennsylvania. And essentially, with the Warrens, they have their daughter who is kind of seemed to be like an early adulthood, and she has her partner, and they are very highly involved in the story. And so, essentially, the Warrens are like, yeah, like we're not really doing cases anymore, but then, without spoilers, one thing comes to another. They end up going to the Smurl family to help them out with their haunting. So, again, to keep this without spoilers, I feel like this one is kind of hard to not go into spoilers because it's a very straightforward story. Very straightforward plot. And I would honestly say the pacing, this felt kind of strange to me. Like I felt a little rushed at times. I had hoped to see more of the buildup of kind of what the Smurl family experienced. But again, that's just my personal ideas coming from my own personal taste. There were definitely a lot of relatable and really nice themes within this, but again, it didn't go too deep. It felt very like it was just kind of thrown in there, kind of thing. And it was nice, but eh, I don't know. There were definitely a lot of silly parts, and some of it actually I did think was funny. And I did like that that was included, and I feel like it definitely kind of added to my enjoyment. There were a lot of really, really cool, when it comes to like how it was filmed, there were a lot of really cool things when it came to lighting. And just in general, a lot of the shots, I again, I'm not educated in film, so I don't know the words for it. But there were a lot of really cool shots that were really interesting and really drew me in. And again, a lot of things related to lighting, like really quick changes when it comes to the lighting and overall vibe and tone of what was on screen. I thought was really, really interesting. And like many movies like this, there were a lot of bad decisions, like that the characters make. I mean, that which is kind of like okay, like of course it was to go along with the plot and such, but I was like, okay, like I don't know. I felt like that could have been a little better. All right, I'm gonna get into spoilers now. So if you don't want to see spoilers, then feel free to click off. And so honestly, even getting into the spoiler section, where I could talk a little bit more about the plot of the movie, like it's still so straightforward that it's not a ton to say. Again, very much what you would expect. Um, Again, like I said, the plots uh, moved really fast with the Smurl family haunting. So I looked a little bit into what actually happened with that case, not too much, and yeah, really, really disturbing case. A lot of really disturbing things seems to happen there. So I definitely understand why a lot of that was not included. I feel like part of that was implied with, I don't remember what his name was, but with what happens to his father, where he kind of starts floating above the bed. Part of like the build up to the Warrens coming. That's one of the really big events that happens that kind of leads them to start looking for help. So I feel like some of the stuff that happened in that case was definitely implied there, which I was honestly shocked that it implied it. But yeah, really disturbing case. A lot of things happened within the case that I felt could have been part of the movie and would have made it a lot more creepy and effective. One of the parts that was included that I researched from the case, I'm also going to put in the description uh, a website that is run by what's her name, Judy Warren and her husband, and it kind of talks a bit briefly about the case and some of the things that happened there. So one of the things that did happen in the case was when a light fixture fell on top of one of the teenagers in the family. So that was included. There was also a scene that definitely upset me a bit. So a warning for animal harm, where a dog gets like levitated and thrown into like a wall. That apparently did happen within the case. So those were kind of some of the things that I saw that actually did happen within the case that was added into the movie. But there were a lot of things, like I said, that I think could have been added. Something that I thought was really interesting was like they apparently saw like this towards the ends of their case, which apparently lasted for like years and years. There was like this floating black mass. And I couldn't really find any other description of that. There was a scene where when the Catholic priest comes in and kind of like throws holy water, and it kind of makes like this smoke. But I felt like if that's what they were trying to mimic, it didn't really. I don't know. I didn't really think it matched too well. Also, I did not see a mention of the mirror, which is kind of the catalyst for the events in the movie. I did not see anything about that. It seems like when the Smurls moved in to this new home after, I believe, a natural disaster happens that pushed them out of their home into this new home, that's the hauntings kind of started after that, and there was no mirror mention. Maybe that's incorrect, but I have not been able to find anything about that. Anyways, I just think it would have been um, a bit more effective if a little bit more of the little things that kind of happens. I'm not saying the really disturbing extreme things, but um, I don't know. I feel like also because they end up really showing the spirits a lot. So there's three spirits, and there's one demon that's kind of using the spirits, controlling them in a sense to terrorize his family. And apparently that is the case in the actual case. And so there's, but the demons or the spirits themselves um weren't didn't seem to be the exact same as the movie, and then there's the overarching uh demon, so kind of similar a little bit. But yeah, I just think they were shown too much, and some of it just didn't really seem to fit. Like they were definitely used for jump scares, like they looked creepy for sure. um but I definitely think if there was less showing of them, it would have been a little bit more effective when they actually came onto the screen. And then, kind of the overarching emotional theme of the movie is kind of just Ed and Lorraine Warren, especially Lorraine, um, allowing the daughter to be attuned to her senses of spirits and to not block it out. Within the start of the movie, it's very shown that Lorraine is like, hey, you gotta block this out. You don't want to be part of this, of course, because she's a mother trying to protect her child. But then towards the end, it seems it was made pretty apparent that the only way that this case was going to be solved was if Judy did listen to her senses, and used it to her advantage. And that the like it has this really heartwarming moment with Lorraine and Judy, and kind of just like where she kind of like rephrases what she taught her as a child to say, or told her. And yeah, it was sweet, but I felt like more again could have been done with it. I felt like that theme could have maybe been shown a little bit more, but again, I wasn't really expecting it to really emphasize that. Also, in general, I'm a very big fan of horror and just media with religious themes. And of course, Conjuring, very religious, horror oriented. However, it just does not really go too deep into it. It's just kind of like a vessel, to deliver the story. Um, and of course, as someone who's just really into that, I would have loved if maybe there would be more delving into themes of uh, religion rather than it's being, like I said, kind of like a tool to propel the plot forward. And of course, the ending ends with a happy ending. I definitely thought it was really nice to kind of see some information about the Warrens at the end, of course, throughout the movie as well. Um, yeah, I mean, happy standard ending. Um, yeah, I don't know. It was okay. It was fun. I had a good time. But I personally probably will not watch it again. Um, and yeah, I guess that's really it for my review. I ended up giving it a 2.5 out of 5 on letterboxd. I will put my letterboxd in the description also if anyone would like to kind of get an idea of what my taste is. And yeah, thank you so much for watching my first video. This is literally my first one. I have no idea what the heck I am doing. So yeah, maybe if you enjoyed, maybe like it or like maybe subscribe or something if you want to, I guess. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much. Bye.